What's the link? Is it streaming?
Hello, welcome to Moment of Truth. Today, my name is Nadia Sean and my co-host.
I'm David Chikodi.
And we have the privilege and honor of having Elder Dr. Labi Mensah. And he is our guest today. We're going to be talking about love and relationship. So before we start, we'll give our elder an opportunity to introduce himself and tell us a little bit about himself.
Yeah, as you said, my name is Alexander Labi Mensah. I currently fellowship with the Church of Pentecost, Pentecost International Worship Center. I love to work with the youth. I have a very good working relationship with the youth, and I think this is an opportunity for us to discuss this topic, and we'll be able to do justice to it and possibly eliminate some of the bad impressions that we have about the issue of love and relationship. So nice being on your show.
Okay.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you so much. Yes, we're definitely honored to have you on the show. So we're talking about love and relationship, and we know that the whole month of February, even though we celebrate Valentine's Day, I think it's a focus to talk about the whole month of February, just to take it upon ourselves to discuss the issue when it comes to love and when it comes to relationship. But our focus today is going to be on family, the dynamic of family. But the first thing we want to ask our guests is that when you think about love, what does that mean to you? How do you see it in your own way, in your own expression?
Yeah, so I mean, definitely as a Christian and a believer, the first thing that comes into my mind when we talk about love is the fact that God created all of us, and when He created us, He created human beings in such a way that we need love, and then we also are in the position to receive love and then to also give love. And so the issue of love center on God, because the Bible says that God created us in His own image, right? And the image of God, Bible says God is love. And so having that understanding that God is love, and me or each one of us being in the image of God, tells us that we also have been created in a position where we are dying for love. We should find a way of expressing it and then receiving the gift of love. Yeah.
That's good. Thank you so much. And because when we think about love, and I think in our day-to-day situation, people always say, I love you, I love this, I love that. So we feel, sometimes you think love has lost its power because you use it so often that, we don't necessarily use it with the same idea or the same power that it's supposed to have. So what do you think about that when it comes to how we say it or how we express it?
Yeah, so the issue of love, somebody said that love is one of the most used words, but yet one of the most misused words, right?
Of course.
And then also, like, it's also one of the most abused words because people use it with no understanding. Somebody could tell you that, hey, I love you, and what he has at the back of his mind is sex, right?
Of course.
Somebody could say, hey, I love you, and what he's thinking behind the back of his mind is maybe because you have something that the person wants to receive, right? And so there is that misunderstanding about what love truly is. And for us as Christians and believers, the definition of love goes back to the Bible, right? Where we understand the import of love, where Bible said that for God so loved the world that He gave His only begotten Son. So if there is evidence of love, you are able to give that precious thing that you have, and you don't hesitate to do that. Like Jesus was precious to God, and God gave Him because He loved each one of us. And so if we talk about love, and as believers we go back to the Bible, it talks about the fact that love does not boast, it's not rude, protects, guides. And so if you tell somebody that you love the person and you don't demonstrate protection for the person, you are rude to the person, then you are not really proving to the person that you indeed love the person. And so those are some of the things that we need to understand. Truly read First Corinthians chapter 13, and it gives us the full definition of what love is and what love is not, so that we can apply it to our daily lives as we express love to our loved ones and then our friends and those that come our way.
I like the fact that you have to understand what you are talking about. And so let's talk about, when we talk about love and when it comes to even our children. You know, one of the biggest misconception about children is that we say, oh, the children are not, like, they're not listening to us. But children see us and they actually, I think for them, they watch us. So as your child is watching you, what are some of the things you tell our viewers, moment of truth, when we talk about love and we're talking about raising the next generation? What are some of the key things that you have to look out for when you are talking about love and you are teaching your children about love?
Yeah, so I think the first thing that comes into mind is the fact that love protects, right? And so if you have that at the back of your mind, then if you love your child, you want to protect your child. And that comes by way of what you allow your child to do. There are certain things that you see that your child may be doing and you think that may not end your child well. You, as somebody who really loves the person, would go to the extent of letting the person know that, hey, I won't encourage this, right? Because I have to protect you. It's my responsibility to protect you because I love you and I care about you, right? And typical example, when we're growing up, anytime we did something wrong, our parents, especially my mom, she would spank us, and we didn't like it then. But today we grew up, and now today we can reflect back and we say, that was good for us because it shaped us, right?
So you appreciate it now.
Exactly. So
many years later, you realize the purpose of it.
Exactly. So now we're able to look back and know that that thing she did for us, we thought it was punishment, but that was an expression of love to protect us. Yeah.
And I think that is very important because one of the things that I've seen in our society today is that we spoil the rod and spoil the child, and we say we love them, and somehow you look back at it and I feel the child pain. Because if you are not teaching the child right now, when are you going to teach that child? If you are not protecting the child right now, when are you going to protect them? When they are in jail, and then you come to bail them out. So, it's definitely important to realize that, discipline your child is also showing them your love.
Exactly.
And that is important.
Exactly.
And I like the fact that when you were talking about your experiences, you talked about an experience from home. Right now, I think most of the generation now, the experiences that they can talk about are the experiences as portrayed by the media. So let's look at love as portrayed by the media. Love as a feeling, or love as a choice, or love as both, or what is love exactly? Is it feeling as portrayed by the media? Is it choice, or is it a combination of feeling and choice and whatever else is there?
Yeah, definitely the media is one of the things that we need to watch as believers, right? Because there are a lot of things on the media and most of them are junk. They don't point us in the right direction. And so we first need to be selective as to what we pick from the media. And once we are able to do that, guided by the scriptures, the Bible, we see that we position ourselves to express love and express it the God way, right? And one of the things that you realize the media portray to us when it comes to love is affluence, right? You think that because you exhibit affluence and you can give gift and big gift and expensive gift, that is love. That is one of the misconceptions when it comes to love. The media portray to us. The other thing is, even with gifts, right? You talk about people buying expensive diamond rings, and they ask you, what is the cost of this ring?
So the cost determines how much
you love. Exactly.
How much love goes in
Exactly.
I heard somebody bought a 60 carat gold, whatever, diamond ring. I was like, 60 carat.
Yeah.
But that shows love, according to the media.
Yeah. But that is not true, because he can buy it and still not love you, right? Yeah, he can buy all those big stuff for you, the Porsche cars and whatever, and still not love you. And so love goes beyond that. The other thing that the media also portray to us is the fact that love is sex, right? And so if I love you, then we must have sex or go to bed together. If you love me, then you must allow me. And that is also another misconception that we get from the media. But that is not what the Bible tells us as Christians, that is love. That is not love. Yeah.
So that's good. So moment of truth. We are talking about the things that define love. And we talk about, as Christians, we have a very concrete definition of love. But the media will tell you otherwise. So as we're learning, for me, I think it shines a spotlight on our focus. What is your priority and what is your focus? So what will you tell our viewers? What should their focus be when it comes to love and relationship?
Yeah, so there are things that we can do to really build our relationship when it comes to loving one another. We need to really be genuine, right? Be genuine with them. If you really admire the person, feel free and say it. You mentioned something about your feelings. Definitely, it also comes, emotions are part of the expression of our love, right? And so you want to be in a position to be able to express your emotions in a godly way, right?
Right.
So that is one of the things that we always need to do. And then the other thing that we also need to do is the fact that if you're a man, what you need most is respect, right? And so for a lady, if you want to let your man know that you really love him, then you must be able to show him respect, right? If you don't show respect, you can do whatever you want to do. You can even allow him to go to bed with you, which is not a Christian way, though. If you are married, you can go to bed, and if that respect is not there, that man does not feel love, right? It doesn't feel, because remember the definition in 1 Corinthians, it mentioned the fact that love is not rude, right? It's not rude. And so that is, to men, that is what we look at, right? So for the women, they are looking at love in another perspective, in terms of how you affirm your love to them, right? In the expression of gift, being around them, right? Making them feel so important when you meet, with your colleagues, how you make her feel important, right? And that is what the woman expects from a man. And so if each one of us want to really have a good time and express love in the best way and making your partner or your spouse so happy, then if you're a lady, you want to make sure that you show some respect to the man. And then if you are a man, you want to affirm the woman, admire the woman, right? If she is looking good, you want to say you're looking good, right? Don't wait till you come to church and then somebody say, oh, you're looking good today. And then your wife look into your face and then you're like, yes, my wife is looking good.
I have a follow-up question. Yeah. So you were saying that, as a lady, should respect, some things, nobody can demand respect, but they can command respect.
Exactly.
So let's say that you are about to get married to somebody. Just following up with your question. But you see that, sincerely speaking, the person is not honorable in your sight. You don't feel it's an honorable person. Does that mean that actually you don't love the person? Or what?
Yeah, so we always have to be careful of the physicals, right? If you look at a physical, you would look at somebody and think that, oh, this person is good looking. But good looking is not the same as living together in love. Exactly, right? Yeah, so looking good.
Respect.
Exactly. So that is different. There are people who look so good, but they are not reliable, right? And so you can't count on them. If you go for such a person, you can't count on that person's love for you. And so as for the physicals, it's one of the things that are very deceptive. And so we always need to be careful when it comes to the issue of love and the physical things. Yeah.
So moment of truth, if you are going to marry the person and you don't respect the person, don't marry the person.
Right.
Because the chances of you growing to respect somebody is not going to happen.
Exactly.
So you have to really respect your significant other, and that is important.
Let me add this thing. I saw this quote that catch my attention. It says that the greatest need of a man is not sex. He can get that from a prostitute if he is not a born again. Neither is it food. You know, people will say that, oh, as for the men, it's food, men and their stomach. Yeah, and he's saying that neither is it food. He can get that from a good restaurant. A man's greatest need is respect. And so once we are able to respect the man, definitely the love, or he plays his part. He sees you and cherishes you because he thinks that he receives what he wants. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Respect. That is definitely a big thing. It's a big thing in our society today. You know, so let's talk about it. I think I like to pack on that one for a second, because I think it's really a big, genuine thing in some of our young women, because we put respect and responsibility and financial wealth in a category in our mind that can be very skewed. Tricky. So let's just say the fact that you make more money and you are looking at the man you're going to marry, does that mean that because you make more money, the man doesn't command respect? So sometimes, you know, will you clarify that so our viewers will really see how respect is being played? When we say
respect, what really do we mean?
Yes.
Yeah, so if we look at respect, you see, it boils down to how you see your man, right? Okay. And so you can be richer than the man, but yet you respect him, right? Okay. That is the divine order, right? And so you don't want the man to feel like because you have more money than he does, you are just walking over him. When he says something, you don't give audience to it. When there is any decision that need to be made at home, because you think that he doesn't contribute more like you do, you ignore his input, right? And so you don't make him feel like he is a man of the home. And with that, he won't feel respected. And definitely men who don't feel respected and they think that somebody else respects them, definitely it brings challenge in the marriage, because then they'll become more comfortable to be with a person they think they get respect from. And then gradually, if you as a woman or as a married woman, you are not happy about your husband being out there with other women who he feel comfortable with, then it starts problem, right? It generates problem in the marriage, and then if God doesn't intervene, then it results in divorce. But that shouldn't be the case. And I think that it is biblical for us as women to express respect. And that's why the Bible said, it said we should respect the men, right? It said women respect or be submissive. And the submissiveness comes by respect. If you don't respect, you can't submit, right? Yeah. And then it says that we should also, the men should love the men, the women, their wives, right? So that is the rule. And that is what the women need most. They need love, the expression of love, right? The way you affirm them, the way you are there for them, the way you make them feel good, the way you think about them. Sometimes it's just the little things, right?
Yes.
The little things that you do. Like one time I was going to work, and then I decided to write my wife a note, right? I just postcard. I just wrote the note and then pasted it in front of the TV in our bedroom, right? And she didn't. I just left. She didn't see. So she woke up. She was walking around and then she looked at it. That day was different, right? I saw that she was so excited about it, and her countenance changed, and so I saw that those little things make them feel love, right? And those are very, very important. Even the way you talk to your husband, right, makes him feel like you respect him, right? If you don't talk anyhow. If you talk anyhow, then he thinks that you don't respect me. And sometimes when a friend sees you talk to him like that, they would even tell him that that's for this woman. He doesn't respect you.
Last follow-up question on respect. So what do you think are some things that men can do to earn the respect from their women? Or what are some things that when they do, they earn the respect of men?
Yeah, so definitely there are two sides of it, right? I would say that each woman or each wife should know his or her responsibility, right? And so I won't say that because as a woman I don't feel love, I'm not going to submit to my husband. You understand? Yeah. So if both of us see it that my responsibility as a man is to make sure that I make my wife feel love, I play that role, irrespective of whether I am receiving some submission from her or not, right? That should be our first mentality. And then the woman would also express love to the man, irrespective of whether she thinks that the man expressing love to the woman, irrespective of the fact that he's receiving submission from the man, right? Why I'm saying that is, I mean, I grew from a background where my parents really they went to church, but they didn't know the Lord. And when my mom got to know the Lord and joined the Church of Pentecost, I realized that the way she treated my dad changed, right? There were times where my dad may not give chop money, but that's how we say it back home, right?
We know what it is.
Yeah, but my mom would make sure that she still went ahead to set a table for him and make him feel that respected, right? Somebody would have said that if you don't give me what your due share, I'm not going to do mine, right? Then it becomes more like tit for tat, right? Yeah. But we as believers need to take the highway and make sure that everything we do position us to become an example for others to follow. And that is the only way you can bring your spouse to the Lord, right? And so we shouldn't look at it that because he is not giving me love, I'm not going to submit. And because she is not submitting, I'm not going to give him love. We should always do that. However, you as a man, if you think that you really need to be respected, then you must also make sure that you act as such, right? The way you conduct yourself. You should conduct yourself as somebody who really require respect or deserve respect. It shouldn't be that you take your spouse for granted and anything she says, you're going out and, ladies will always say, this dress you're wearing or this shirt, can you change it? And then you ignore her, right? Continuously, you ignore her. That is not right because she is looking at you and she's thinking that if you wear this thing to wherever we are going,
it doesn't reflect good on her.
Exactly. People will be like,
you watch him dress like this.
Exactly. Yeah. They'll say, why didn't your wife see you before you came out?
True.
Yeah. So we shouldn't take each other for granted. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I like the fact that when we talk about respect, we touch about the requirement and also the expectation. I think the hardest part for us as we look at respect is the social media aspect of respect and the dynamic of it, because our children also see that. When you do something to your wife, your child, your daughter is looking at you and say, is that what is expected of me?
Exactly.
And so sometimes they walk around with a misconception about what respect is or what their role is. And the same thing, your son also see the same thing. So what will you tell our viewers when it comes to respect and how we raise the next generation, being aware of the goodness and the responsibility that is required of us?
Yeah, I think it starts from the fact that you don't despise the other person, right? Your spouse. If it's, you don't despise each other. If you as a man don't despise your wife and your wife don't despise the man, what happens is that it sends a good message to the kids around you, right? Even the way you talk to each other, they learn from that, right? Whatever you do, it's very easy for them to learn that and apply it to their life in future. And so the way we are living now will reflect the way our kids will definitely live. And so it is very important for us to show respect the way we talk to each other. Even if you are not happy about a thing, how do you express it, right? Do you go throwing away everything in the house? Do you you understand that when you're mad and everybody is like, don't go near, everybody is running away from you? It shouldn't be the case. How you deal with issues. I know sometimes we get angry at a point in time, but how you manage your anger at that point, it's very important as people who want to give and receive love and also want people to see that you are really making impact in the life of the family by the way you conduct yourself. So it's very important that we don't despise each other. Let's talk to each other with respect. Let's not ignore the input of each other. We shouldn't let them feel like they are not important, their input is not needed. If we do that, then it will make them become quiet. They won't be happy. Emotional disturbance will set in, and that could lead to something else. Yeah.
Thank you very much. It's very interesting because when we talk about being role models in our homes, sometimes we do not know that we are showing duality or hypocrisy. We say one thing, we do another. Maybe we come home and something has happened, and we talk about it, and then when we go out, we say something different. So it looks like those values of truthfulness. I think that respect basically is on truthfulness. Anytime we feel somebody is truthful and honest, we naturally respect people like that. And so that is why we have to be intentional in our homes too. I think when we are out there, we are careful about what we are doing, but when we are in our homes around our kids, we are not really intentional about making sure that we are modeling something that will pick. Sometimes you forget that because we are in our comfort zone, we forget that we are still models. What can you say about that?
Yeah, I think that is a very good point that you are making. And it's very important that the way we live at home is not different from the way we live at church. Right? And sometimes for us, especially who are church leaders, so you come to church and you are so spiritual, you are preaching and all those things. And you are doing it, and then the next moment you are home and the very things you said at church, you are not able to exhibit that or portray that at home. That gives your children misinformation, right? It tells them that, hey, at home you can live differently, and when you get to the presence of God, you live another way. That shouldn't be it. It should be that when I'm preaching at church, even the examples, it comes back to me that it's something that I do, I practice, right?
That's what you preach.
Exactly. So it shouldn't be like you come to church and you are a different person, and then you're at home different person. I believe that is why the Bible says that even if you want to appoint leaders, he must be good at keeping the home
first.
You understand? Because that is your small church. and they know you better, right? They know you better. They know your inside out. They know you when you are angry. They know you when you are happy. They know you when you wake up from bed, how you feel, and whether you read your Bible, whether you pray. They know all those things, right? So it's very important that what we portray at home reflect what we portray at church. Any message that we come to church to listen, the goods that we are supposed to do, what the Bible tells us we're supposed to do, at home, let's make sure that we practice it. And it's very important. And one of the things that I think we find it difficult is where we be able to solicit the input from even our kids, right? And it starts from that level. If they think that at that level you respect them, you want to make any decision that affect them, you can even ask them that, hey, I want to make this decision, what do you think? Right? And then receive their input. Also make them feel like they are also important in the family, right? And those are some of the things that we can do as believers. But definitely our life at church shouldn't be different from our life at home.
So today on Moment Church, we're talking about love and relationship, and our focus is for the love of the family. For the love of the family. And I love the part that you said there shouldn't be, like when you're making decisions, let's say you're making a New Year resolution, you should incorporate their input also, especially when they affect the family. But I also like the question that you're talking about, solicit your children input. One of the things most people don't ask is ask the child how they feel about certain things. So what would you advise our viewers watching us? What are some of the things that you really need to talk to your children about, even from the little as they get older, so that way they know that mom and dad are there. We can talk to them. Whenever it comes to anything, we can talk to them. Because sometimes the kids feel like the parents are not there for them. So how will you encourage our viewers?
Yeah, so we have grew up from a background that even if you're a kid and you want to speak, they shut you up, right? They say, hey, you don't respect, you don't respect. And so for us, we have come from a background that we don't encourage our children to input into decisions. And I think that we need to change from that, right? We need to change. As we come here, the culture here encourages kids to speak, right? To speak their mind, share their mind. And as they share their mind, you get to know them more and you can correct them. And so it's very important that decisions that we make at home that we think impact them, we should let them feel part of it, right? Let's say if I'm going to change my job now, and I have a job like, let's say, a job that will require us to even be transferred from here, I should get them involved, right? Say, hey, this is it, right? this job, if I take this job, we have to transfer. Definitely, it's going to affect them because they have to leave all their friends, go and make new friends, integrate into a new community, new society, new culture, right? So make them feel part of it. They can even go out about and then research and say that, okay, this new place we're going, let me find out what is there, right? And they can even be excited for you. You go, and then it's not like somebody who don't want to go, somebody who want to go, you drag it.
Yeah, your suitcases.
One day they wake up and you're like, we're going.
Yeah,
Going
exactly.
where?
Yeah, exactly.
Follow me.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so these are some of the things that we need to involve them in decision making. And even it affects even decisions that we even make for them when it comes to their career, right? And I think that it all links to love, right? Where I said, if you love, definitely you want to respect the person. Bible say in 1 Corinthians, let me see if I see that scripture. It talks about the fact that it does not demand its own way, right? It doesn't demand its own way. So sometimes if you love somebody, you want to allow the person to input into it. It shouldn't be that it is always your way. Because immediately you make it always your way, you are suppressing that person's desire, right? And once you do that, the person doesn't feel like he matters to you. And once he doesn't feel he matters to you, then you don't care, right? And then you don't love automatically. Yeah.
Let's talk about, so we are talking about love and relationships as it reflects on the family. So let's talk about correcting in love. We're talking about family and love. So just as you said, when you grew up, you realized that certain corrections that you received that you didn't like then are actually beneficial. But you can also say that there are certain corrections that you received, maybe from community members, from home, from school, that when you grew up, you still see that this was not right, it was abusive. So how do we correct in love? What are the ways that we can correct, and it's in love, and it's not detrimental at the end? Doesn't take the child the wrong way altogether.
Okay. Yeah, so that's a good question. So I think that the end, after whatever action you take, tells the person whether you really love or not, right? Okay. There are times where we get so angry and then we spank our kids, right?
Out of anger.
Out of anger and all those things. But after that, how do you bring them close to you, right? How do you get back to them again, right? And that is very important for the child to know that you are doing this because you are responsible as a parent to make sure that you take good care of them. And like I said initially, love protects, right? And so with your intention, you are protecting the child so that the child will not do certain things wrong or certain things that will not end the child well. And so by virtue that you are protecting the child, you make sure that the end result, he feel like my parents may be doing this because they love me. Maybe at that point in time, he may not understand or she may not understand. But at least even the way you come back and get close to them, right? Sometimes people do that and they don't even want to even give their child food to eat, right?
Wow.
You understand? But if you discipline the child and you say, hey, it's lunchtime, come let's eat or come and eat, then he sees that the thing that I did, I was disciplined because my parents really love me. They have good intention for me.
Sometimes they don't know why you're spanking.
And that is communication. And that is one of the areas.
You're angry, so they think that you being angry is the reason why you're spanking them. So every time they try not to make you angry, but really they are not thinking about choices that they're making.
Yeah.
That may be wrong.
Exactly. That is true. And it boils down to communication. Why do we do the things we do? And it is getting back to the child and making the child knows that, hey, I'm doing this not because of anything. Like I always tell my son or my kids, I say, hey, it is for your own good, right? I'm thinking about anything that would do that would affect you. And I'm trying to make sure that you don't make that choice. So it's guiding you to make the right choice. And once you make the right choice, maybe now it looks challenging for you. You think that you are not happy about it, but like the Bible says that when you are being chastised at the point that is you are being chastised, it's not joyful, right? But at the end of the period, you're like, oh, it was good this happened to me. And look, we as believers, Bible always gives us the yardstick. It says that there is foolishness attached to the heart of a child, right? So that understanding that the child will not know. The child doesn't, look, like you put something there and say, hey, this thing don't touch it. Like a glass, right? The child doesn't know.
course.
He takes the glass, leave it in the floor, and then it breaks, right? And so we, as parents, always need to guide the child, and then also take our time to explain to the child why we don't permit certain things, why we don't want certain things. And that is one of the things that we need to be very careful in this generation, because this generation doesn't just take, don't do this for a word, right?
Yes.
They always come back to why. Why this? Why this? Why this? Hey, so don't watch this. Why? Right? And so we must come to have that knowledge where we can let them know that if you do this, these are some of the things that could result, right? And then once you paint that picture to them, they begin to get understanding. Not that you are just denying them that, hey, don't watch this or don't do this, but they understand that it is for a reason, and the reason is where you are pointing them to, right? Like we were watching TV one time. It was a court, one of these court channels, right? And there was this lady who was the judge. And there was a guy who had gone to commit a felony and was brought to, court. And when the guy entered, the judge looked at the guy, and then he mentioned the name of the guy. He said, hey, are you the one? I said, yes. And the guy bowed his head in shame, right? They were classmates. And now she has grown to become a judge, and now he is going to prison. Your classmate is coming to
send you to prison.
Yes. And so that was a big lesson we always portray to our child. We say, hey, look at this. You remember that? What happened? Ask yourself, what did the guy do to end up that way? His classmate, they were in the classroom at the same time. It means that the lady might have done something right that made her grow to become responsible and become a judge. And the other guy who had committed the felony might have made a wrong choice, and that is impacting on his life, right? And so that paints a picture. So he understands that we are concerned. It's not like we are just interested in just spanking or discipline. Don't do that. Yeah. So the understanding is very, very important.
So in a moment or two, we're talking about, as we talk about love, relationship, and the center focus of family, I think we talk about nature versus nurturing, and that is one thing that I think our elder is pointing about, and I think is very also important. One of the misconceptions that I personally believe is that we tell our kids that are born here, oh, the child is born here. So there's a leeway and there's some expectation we let them get away with certain things. And that they will not get away with when they are in Ghana. So in the end, there's a difference, when you see the child, because of the way that you are training them here. So even when you send them to Ghana, they'll have conflict because of the respect, the lack of understanding and appreciation. So please, tell our viewers, what are some of the things that we need to know that is universal? Respect is respect, expectation is expectation, and our children need to know the right way to do it.
Yeah, so, first of all, you as a parent need to know what is the right way, right? And that is what we discussed.
That's from the top.
Exactly,
Yes,
that's what we discussed earlier on, that as Christians, when we come to church and we listen to the Word of God, and then we are told what the Bible expects us to do, we first have to make sure we take that opportunity to live by what the Bible says, right? Once you live by what the Bible says, then your life itself become an example to the kid or to the child, right? The way you entertain strangers, it becomes an experience that the child has learned from your example, right? The way you treat people, if you meet people and they even abuse you or they insult you or they curse you or whatever, the way you react, it becomes a lesson for them. So they learn by your example. And so once you do that, you have taught them certain things but you have taught them that you have not consciously decided that you want to teach them, but they learn from your example, right? That's what I'm trying to say. And so that is the first thing. And they learn more from that, how we live, than what we tell them. Okay. The other thing is where you want to look at culture. There are differences in our culture. And so you want to educate them about some of the things that our culture frown against, right? And because they even in a corporate world, right, you have opportunity to do business with other people across boundary, right? in other countries. And once you are going, they tell you that you need to know about the culture of that place so that you don't go and do something that would offend them. You understand? And so, though our children are living here, they may have the opportunity to visit back home. And there are certain things about our culture that you think that, you want to let them know, so that when they find themselves in that society or that community, they won't do anything that will make others feel like they are not cultured, right? And so it's very important that as parents, we teach them some of these things. But we should also be careful we don't impose, right? It should be something that we explain to them, we interact with them, we let them know that this is what is acceptable in a culture. And that is how it is, right? And so once you're able to coach them, then it's easy for them to integrate when they find themselves in that community. When they even go back home, or they find themselves at church or a community where there are a lot of Africans or Ghanaians or whatever, they know how they behave. They know what the culture expects from them when it comes to certain things that they have to do. Yeah.
That's good. And I think one of the things we talk about when we talk about the love relationship and the family dynamics, that our extended family. One of the things that we always say when you come to church, auntie and uncle, and the young person will ask, so which one is my real uncle, which one is my real auntie? But we have the extended family concept in our mind already, but our kids don't know that. And we want to also show that respect and that love for that extended family, so that when somebody back home call them and say, oh, you're my niece, you're my nephew, and I expect this and that. How do we teach our kids so that way they know that their expectation and responsibility?
Exactly. So like I said, it always come back to you. How you as a parent, what do? Do you live your life such that your children feel like the extended family is important or not? Right? So how you even connect them and say that, hey, you have an auntie who is in this place and this is what it does or whatever, and connect them. You have an uncle that lives here. Try and connect them, right? You can only do that if you yourself, you even call them and connect with them. Okay? And so it's easy, like my kids, they connect with my siblings and my other relatives as if they have lived with them. Not because of that. It's because we call them, sometimes say, hey, when Mama Maggie call, we'll tell Mama Maggie that you did this. And then and so there's that expectation, right? So they interact, they call, they talk together and all those things. So they know that apart from the nuclear family, there is that extended family that they also have responsibility, right? Typically, another thing is where you care about them, right? Like say, hey, you are here and you have extended family somewhere, and say, hey, let's send some money to them, right? Or they call you and say, hey, this is happening at home and we need your support. And then you're able to send something. So they know that they are not, these people you are helping, they are extended family, yet you are helping them. That is a big lesson for the child, right? To know that you don't always have to think about just yourself, but there are other relations that you need to care about, and you need to interact with them. You need to bless them if you have the means to bless them. But like I said, it always starts from you, how you are able to connect them to do these things. Yeah.
And I like that. For us in the church particular, I think we do a good job interacting with the people at church because we see them. But when we don't see the people, it's hard for them to say, auntie so-and-so, uncle so-and-so, it's your birthday, call them, say hi.
Perfect.
So it is important to make that connection with the family.
Exactly. And the birthdays are important, right? Because that's another way we connect. They say, oh, today is this person's auntie's birthday or uncle's birthday, let's call. Or grandpa's birthday or grandma's birthday. And then you call and then you wish and then you have some token or gift, you send it. They are so, they learn from these things, especially when they call back and they express their appreciation for that gesture. Yeah. So either they are around here or they are away in other countries or away from this U.S., you can still connect. The good thing for us today is that we have this internet, right?
We do.
We have internet. Apart from the internet, we also have this phone that we can easily connect with them. You can always call and then have interaction with them. So that's something we shouldn't find it difficult to do. Yeah.
We know that family is supposed to spend time together. It looks like of late, there are days where we all say we are having a electronics day or something where we all sit, but everybody's on their phones. But now it's becoming just the norm. Can you talk about some things that we can do together as a family that does not necessarily, like, that we can put electronics down and just have fun together? What are some things that we can actually do as a family to make our bond stronger instead of being in the same house but being isolated?
Exactly. Yeah, so these are things that we need to make conscious effort of. I mean, you have to know that this tablet and phones and all those things, social media, they are very destructive. They can distract each person at a time. And sometimes you see people even go on vacation. And when they go on vacation, everybody is like,
we are on the phone. We are on the phone.
Meanwhile, the intention for vacation was to spend some time together. And they will come back and not really having that time together, except for the fact that they are moving together, but everybody is doing whatever he's doing. And sometimes
change of venue.
Exactly, change of venue. Yeah. But I had a friend who went for vacation, and anytime they went, what he does is that he's put a box there and says, everybody drop your phone in.
Wow.
So they drop their phone and then they can then interact, right? Yeah. And so that is a conscious effort to make sure that we don't get distracted by our phones and our tablet. So sometimes just do away with it. I had an interaction with my manager just this week. It was this Tuesday. And then we were talking about this. Something came up, we were talking, and then she was giving me an example that sometimes when they go for dinner together or they go to the restaurant, they ask everybody, drop your phone at the center. And they make sure that they themselves as parents don't have their phone. They also drop it first and everybody drop it there, so they can spend some quality time together. So it's something that we need to do consciously, so that we don't teach our kids that it is always the internet, it's always the media. We want them to know that it's good to interact, right? Otherwise, every time, right?
Sometimes we want to interact, but we don't know what to do if we put the phone down. Like,
yes.
What is there to do?
So you must be creative. You must be creative. Sometimes say, hey, today we are doing movie time. And my daughter laughs at any time my wife says, hey, movie time. And then she go and take a blanket and say, okay, we'll do some popcorn, right?
Yeah. Oh, yes. Yes.
Yeah, she's so excited about it. And so it's a conscious effort that you should go ahead and do. There are sometimes I intentionally just decide that I'm just going to leave because I get too much engaged. I have, apart from the church activities, and work, and sometimes academic work and all those stuff. And sometimes I intentionally say that, irrespective of the fact that I have this, I intentionally will drop it aside and just have fun with them, just laugh. I mean, just create some joke. I mean, sometimes put some music in there, and then we'll be dancing together. And so those are things that we need to be creative, to do. There was one time that we normally go for like dinner, we go for lunch or together. But there was one time that the thing just dawned to me that take them for breakfast. Let's go for family breakfast. So we started that concept. Oh, let's go for family breakfast, and they were so excited about it. And then recently I just mentioned that we are planning to do that again. And my daughter would not let me have my space. And I mean, like, Daddy, when are we going?
You promised.
I know, like, she's looking forward for it, right? So there are little things, but that we can do that may not be expensive, right? That is not expensive. It was not. We went to that day. I said breakfast, family breakfast. You know where we went? We went to Chick-fil-A. I mean, and they were so excited. Yeah. So it shouldn't be a big thing, but something that brings you together and make them have some fun memories that, hey, at least we spend some quality time together. So it's very important. Yeah.
If you're wondering what you can do if you put the phones down, you have some ideas to start from.
Yes.
For a walk.
Yes. Exactly.
Family breakfast.
Yes.
Movies.
Yep. Yep.
Spend time together, just chatting and jokes. And then other things will come along as you try these, right?
Exactly. Once you are creative, you see the ideas will be coming. Yeah, you won't miss any opportunity that comes your way, unless you are not thinking about ways to make your family get so excited and bond together. Once you think about it, you make time for it, right? Sometimes you say, hey, let's go to this amusement park. We just go there. I mean, and I go there not because I love to be there.
course.
In fact, I go there and I don't even basically do anything. I just
you
want
a chaperone.
Yeah, I'm with them and they are having fun. And the fact that they are happy, I'm happy, right? Yeah. And so sometimes we should. That's why the issue of love is very important. It doesn't think about itself, not itself only, right? You are thinking about the other person, what can make the other person happy. And once you think about that, otherwise, then what you say that, oh, my parent didn't give me this, why would I give you guys?
That's true.
Right?
That would be sad.
Exactly. And then sometimes we think that, oh, I have this to do, I mean, why would I waste my money and do this, right? But they bond the family, they make the family so strong, they make you feel refreshing. I mean, there are times where people say, oh, I don't want to even go for vacation and all those things.
Because you've had enough vacation in your home.
But it's sad though that by the Ghanaian community, we don't think about vacation. We always think about work. But vacation is supposed to be refreshing. Supposed to be time you spend with your family and bond with them.
Yeah, and if you plan ahead, you can really save and make your vacation so enjoyable, right? There was like last year, even this year we did that. Last year, so was it 2017 to 2018? I was just thinking about what gift to give to the family during Christmas, right? And so I was there, and then I said, no, let me look at Six Flags. So I went to Six Flags, and I realized that Six Flags had a package like a seasonal pass.
Of course.
And they were giving a good deal. So I just grabbed it, and I bought one for all of us.
Yep.
And then I packaged it as their Christmas present. And they were so excited.
Yeah.
And we were going to Six Flags just like that. And we are there like, oh, okay, let's go. Today I'm free, let's go. They enjoyed it. And then we even took the opportunity, when you get Six Flags seasonal pass, you can go to any of the Six Flags in the U.S.
Yes.
The same pass, right? And so we went to New Jersey for our vacation. We said, and he saved us, right? Because the amount we bought for one could have paid for just one entry.
Yep.
But because we planned ahead and we got it on time, we had this opportunity, and the whole year was fun. And sometimes you could take your friends and then we take friends and neighbors there, and then, we really have fun. So it's just a little thing. You just have to plan it, be conscious and plan it. And once you have that good intention, definitely your family will be excited and looking forward for you being together, right?
Yes, wonderful. So we are definitely blessed having our elder Dr. Alessandra Kubi-Mensah here. We have been, I can tell you, it's really good to talk about the love of family and how important the love of family is. And you can tell he loves his family.
Yes.
And the family really are benefiting from all that you do for them. But, as we close in the program, what are some of the things that it's on your mind that you will tell our viewers, and also what are some encouragement that you want to give our viewers when it comes to the love of family, and when it comes to even young family, old family? What is it that you want to tell? Pensa members, especially our Pensa members. What do you want to tell them? As your role in that area, and what are some encouragement you want to give them?
Yeah. So definitely the issue of love is very key. People want to feel love. And as much as we want to feel love, we should also know that other people also expect to feel love, right? And so our actions towards them must reflect the fact that we want to feel love and we want them to also feel love. And so that should be our first thing we should have at the back of our mind. The other thing which we also need to be careful of, I meant to say that but I forgot, is the fact that when it comes to love, we shouldn't limit love to only giving. I remember when I was speaking at church on Sunday, I was telling them, we have narrowed down the definition of love to giving. Though the giving is a subset of love, right? If Bible said that for God so loved the world that he gave. So with that impression, everybody think that if you love, then there should be giving. No. It is not only giving, like kindness. Love is beyond kindness, right? Spending time together, caring for somebody, listening, right? They are all things that shows love, right?
Graciously receiving.
Exactly. Exactly.
And saying thank you when you receive.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And just not expect it.
Exactly. And so these are the things. But what I want to say, as we may be winding up, is the fact that the Bible expects us as believers. Our standard is the unconditional love.
Okay.
There are various, the Greek has various definition of love. In fact, they classify love into 4. They say the eros love, which is more like romantic. They say storge love, which is more like family relation. They talk about filial love, which is more like friendships. And then the agape love, which is the unconditional love. That is the love that God expressed towards us. And we, as believers, should be able to grow our love to that level, where we love people and not expect anything back. Immediately we are able to get to that level, then we'll see that we don't hurt ourselves, right? Because we give, and it's not what we expect back. We love the person not because of what we think we can get.
True.
And so once that happens, then we don't discriminate. Anyone who comes around you, you are able to express some love to that person. So it's very important we think about unconditional love. It shouldn't be that it is always what we will receive, the condition attached.
No strings attached.
No strings, no, not at all.
And that is important.
Yeah.
That is important. So you're telling your person, love unconditional.
Exactly. I mean, and in our expression of love, we also need to be, careful. Definitely when it comes to giving, it's part of it. We should do that. But as, when you are married, sometimes your boundaries to express love becomes bigger, right? It's bigger than when you are not married, right? Because when you are married, you go to the extent, like you are married, right?
So you go all
You can
out.
express, you can become very much intimate to express love, right? But if you are single, that is not the case. And that is where you need to be creative so that you don't find yourself in a compromising way, right? Otherwise, you just live like married people when you are not married. And that could impact your Christian faith. And it is against the scripture. So let's have fun, but let's make sure that we are doing it in a godly way. And
Of scripture.
exactly. The scripture should be our guide. Yeah.
Amen. Thank you so
Awesome.
much. So as we bring our program to an end, we just really want to talk to our viewers and just say the love of a family is important, and love and relationship is where we want you to focus on. But as our elder said, there's a biblical way of doing things, and as Christian, you are called to use the Bible as your standard. And as long as the Bible is your standard, you will never go wrong.
Yeah.
Right.
And that is important. So we just also want to say thank you to our viewers. We also want to thank you to our technician. We want to say thank you to our national head, Apostle Marco, our regional head, Apostle Semno, and of course our district pastor, Apostle Evers Boatin, and the family. We just want to say thank you so much for giving us this platform to talk about things that are important and how we impact not only us, but the people around us. So
Thanks so much to our sponsors. If you want to sponsor and you're out there, we're still waiting for your call. Thanks to Lean on Jesus Foundation and Ministries. Thanks to Ashon Collections. And thanks to El Shaddai International Market. God bless you so much for sponsoring. And we pray that those of you out there who want to sponsor, please come on board. We're waiting for you.
that is true. And we are actually going to be having apostolization, which is going to start from the 4th to the 7th of March. So please be on the watch out. We'll send the flyers and we'll have them attached to Adonai radio and television websites. So please watch out for us. So thank you so much for being part of our program. See you next week.
Same time.
And thank you so much, our
Thank you.
elder.
Thank
we
you.
really appreciate
God
you.
bless
That's
you
a
for coming.
privilege. Thank
It
you.
was nice.
Thank you.
Yes, it was
Thank
really
you.
nice. Thank you.